Good evening, everybody. It is Charlie, and welcome back to another video on the Chatting Leeds YouTube channel. Hope everybody is well on this fine Sunday evening. Just before we get into it, as always, please make sure that you are smashing that like button. It really does help get the video out there to more people. Please subscribe to the channel if you are brand new as well. That would really mean a lot. Get all your thoughts and opinions into the live chat as we go through the stream, guys, and in the comment section if you're watching after. Check out the membership features, hit the notification bell, all that jazz. It's time for the last say on Leeds United 2, Preston North End 1 from yesterday afternoon. A massive win for Leeds United and an even more massive day in the Championship as the title of the video suggests. The blades have fallen apart and Chris Wilder has well and truly lost his head, and we are all here for it. We are all here for it. But yeah, I can see there's a few of you in the building. As I say, guys, please make sure you're liking, commenting and subscribing as we go through. Edward is in the building. Hi, mate. How we doing? Saying I was so nervous yesterday, but now I'm over them. Yeah, I mean, it's that part of the season, isn't it, mate? It really is, where teams really need to show bottle. And I did have my doubts on Leeds United showing bottle. I really did. Because prior to the Middlesbrough game, we weren't really showing a lot of bottle, in my opinion. That has now changed. I thought the Borough game, we showed tremendous fight and desire to get that one over the line. That was a very tricky game. And then yesterday, it should have been about 5-6, maybe even 7-1 to Leeds United with the amount of chances that were created. So very, very happy with yesterday's performance. I'm sure we'll get into it, though, in more detail. Shamsoni is saying, need Joel to score or revert to super sub. I mean, yeah, I mean, we'll come on to it, but I thought Joel Perreault had a good game yesterday, albeit just couldn't finish his dinner. I thought his hold-up play, his build-up, his link-up play, I thought was very good. There's a few very nice touches in there. And again, on any other day, he probably scores a hat-trick. So, you know, it's not ideal that he didn't convert any of the chances yesterday, but at the same time, I thought other than that, he did have a very much improved performance because let's be honest, against Middlesbrough, he wasn't great. And I understand why people were calling for Pat Bamford to come into the starting 11, but I understand why Farke is using him as an impact sub at the minute, because I think it makes perfect sense. But as we always do with the last say, everybody, we'll touch on the lineup first. Obviously, Dan James missed this one, which we found out in the press conference on Friday. So Willie Gnonto came in to replace him. That was probably, I think, it was the only change from the win against Middlesbrough on Tuesday night. I'll be honest, I really wanted to see Largi Ramazani come in, but even if he uses him as a sub between now and the end of the season, I just can't see him starting another game. I really can't. And especially if you've got Solomon performing like he did yesterday as well, you're probably not going to get into the team anyway, which is a shame because I think Largi could really offer something at this point of the season. But for whatever reason, there must be things going on behind closed doors that we're not privy to Otherwise, I think we would definitely have seen a lot more from Ramazani. Groove and Tanaka obviously maintained their partnership in the double pivot. Back four stayed the same, and obviously the best keeper in the division, Caldalo, kept his place as well. And it was a very, very quick start, wasn't it? Opening 15 minutes, all 3 goals coming in that time. Leeds United scoring first on the 3rd minute, or was it 4th minute? Through Manor Solomon, and Solomon just doing something that we have all wanted to see from him all season, where he inverts on that right foot and he scores a Somerville-esque goal. Kind of like the one that he scored against us in the Cup a few seasons back when we were in the Premier League. And yeah, we've been wanting that from him all season. So it was nice for him to pop up with a goal like that. It was a very, very well hit goal. And then just as we were finishing celebrating, Preston North End go up the other end and equalised straight from kickoff, pretty much, which kind of brought us back down to earth just a little bit, didn't it? Which wasn't expected. And it kind of brought us back down to earth quickly and made everyone in the ground think, God, we are in a game here. Like, there is another team actually turning up to play us here. But yeah, look, I thought Leeds still responded well, even after they equalised. I thought we were still the better team. We were pushing the pace, creating chances. Jayden Bogle had an amazing game, and I actually voted him as man of the match on the like notification thing. If you've got the Leeds United app, it like comes through and you can obviously vote for your player of the match. And I voted Jayden Bogle. I thought it was excellent yesterday. Back to his old self, bombing forward with the overlaps. And yeah, Jayden Bogle obviously gets our goal to put us 2-1 in front. Lovely ball in from Manor Solomon. And you know, Jayden Bogle is in the right place at the right time to send it home. And yeah, look, I'll be honest, guys, I really did think we may have gotten a 3rd or a 4th. And boy, did we have the opportunities to. I mean, you know, especially first half. I mean, we were peppering their goal, weren't we? Absolutely peppering it. And other than the goal that they scored, they didn't really do much else, did they? In all honesty, I didn't think so. Anyway, I mean, hit me up in the comments. You know, if you feel there was some other nervy moments. I mean, it was just it was the most dominant 2-1 performance I think I'll ever see. Small guy in the number 10. Yeah, he was decent, actually. He was, yeah. They had a few good players who did knock the ball about quite well, but they didn't really trouble our goal that often. I think Darlow made a save in the second half right in front of me at the south stand end, which was a really good save. Other than that, don't really remember much else other than the goal. Osmajic was kept quiet. There was no antics from him, which I was a little disappointed by, to be honest. I expected Rodon and Ampadu to maybe get in his head a bit and wind him up, which I think would have definitely helped our case. But to be fair, they didn't really need to. I thought it was kept relatively quiet. There was no off-the-ball incidents or anything like that from him. So, yeah, you know, fair play. And, yeah, Ted's just made an excellent point there. I mean, with Darlow, I have confidence again. Why on earth did we not make this change sooner? Why did it not happen sooner? Don't get me wrong, I'm buzzing for Caldalo and I'm buzzing that Leeds look a lot more confident with an actual, you know, adequate goalkeeper between the posts. But if this had have happened after Sunderland, even after Hull at the beginning of January, I think we'd be well clear. We would be well clear, even more clear than we are now, Blades. But no, genuinely, all jokes aside, I think we would be miles clear if Caldalo would have come in after Hull. And the fact that Farke's changed it means that he knows himself that he's made a massive error there. Massive error in judgment. And, you know, fair play to him for finally making the change, but it should have happened a lot sooner. I thought Caldalo was great yesterday. Again, few kicks out from the back, which went straight into touch. But again, you would rather him make an error in that scenario than throw the ball into his own net like Ilan Meslier would. And he did make that one, didn't he, where he punched it just outside of the box. That's one of them where if you commit to it, you've got to see it through. And he just about got away with that. Just about, because could you imagine if Darlow had have got sent off for that? That would have been the most Leeds United thing ever, to see Illan Meslier back between the sticks. So, yeah, I thought Caldaro was excellent. And again, the Caldaro chant is just an absolute thing of beauty when you're in the ground singing it. Edward's saying, I think we could do it next Monday night. I mean, yeah, we'll come on to that after we've discussed the game, Edward, because there's plenty to unpack. There's plenty to unpack, isn't there? Oh, here he is. Mate, I think I've said this to you, in person, mate. The thing is, Pascal Struijk is a good defender. I am not slagging off Pascal Struijk whatsoever. I think to actually have a left footer on the left side of a centre-back pairing is a huge benefit in the way that Struijk obviously brings the ball out from the back. But for some reason, as you've said, mate, Ampadu and Rodon's the one for me. It just is. It just works. And, Struijk and Rodon works. It does, but not as well as Ampadu and Rodon. It just doesn't. And as you've said, Rodon was immense yesterday. He was. But I don't even think it's not just Ampadu that's made him a lot more better and confident. It's having Darlow behind him as well. You know what I mean? And I've said it a few times since the Borough game on Tuesday night. That chance that Bergzorg has where Darlow saves it at the near post, if that's Meslier, it goes straight through him. And that's not me trying to dig out Illan Meslier. He isn't playing at the minute, so, fine. But if that's Illan Meslier, that goes in. Darlow gets everything right there. His positioning, stays tall, stays confident, and he makes a good save. He caught a ball from a Preston corner at the Kop end in the first half. 2, actually. And they were both celebrated like last minute winners. The bloke next to me said, that's other teams take that for granted, don't they? When a keeper just collects a ball from a corner or a free kick or whatever. Other teams take that for granted. But we've had to put up with biscuit wrists, El Bagel, hologram in goal for the past few years. If we had James Trafford from Burnley in goal, we would be about 10 or 12 points clear now, genuinely, and we would be already up. Already up, in my opinion. Definitely. Without question. Which, again, like I said at the beginning, if only he'd have made that change sooner. If only he'd have made that change sooner. But yeah, get back to the game. Another player that I wanted to touch upon who I don't usually rate, but you've got to give credit where it's due. I thought Ilya Gruev was really good yesterday. Actually progressing the ball up the pitch, making direct runs up the pitch as well. Passing accuracy was very good. Did well in the duels, defensively. And yeah, fair play. I thought Tanaka was back to his usual antics as well, which was good. Nonto didn't have the desired effect that I would have liked him to, but still had a good game, if that makes sense. I did expect a bit more from him, but I thought it was just, he was sound on that right-hand side. Him and Bogle did link up quite well. I thought Solomon, like I say, especially first half, was excellent. Dropped off a little bit second half, but again, maybe that's natural. But the first half was really good. Brendan Aronson, again, was okay. Kind of just runs about like a deer in the headlights. Yeah, I don't really see what he's bringing at the minute. There's a few decent passes, few decent runs up the pitch, but in that final phase of play, it just doesn't do it for me. I'm sorry, it really doesn't. And if we manage to get this over the line now, I would be thinking about getting rid of Brendan Aronson. Genuinely, I don't think he would work in the Premier League at all. We've already seen him play for us in the Premier League, and it didn't work. So, yeah, but that's just me. And obviously, Joel Perreault, a weird one, because I thought his all-round game was a lot more improved, but he just couldn't finish his dinner. Just couldn't finish any opportunity that came his way. And I did feel a bit sorry for him because he was getting in the right areas and he was doing everything right bar the finish. Pat Bamford came on in the second half, but with Perreault, which I thought was a really good move from Farke. Drop Perreault a little bit deeper where he can influence the play a little bit more. Keep Pat Bamford up top to wear out the centre-backs. And I thought Pat Bamford had another decent enough cameo. Maybe not as good as the Middlesbrough one, because that was excellent from him. At Luton, I thought it was good as well. And who else came on? Isaac Schmidt, I think, is having a decent impact as well. Putting himself about, energetic, good on the ball. Yeah, decent. Sam Byram came on, I think, yesterday as well. Was all right. Kind of understood it. A defensive change towards the end. But yeah, well, like I say, guys, it should have been 4, 5, 6, maybe 7-1, and that's been generous with the amount of opportunities we missed. I think Gruev missed one as well. Nonto missed one or two. Solomon missed I think Firpo missed one as well at one point. It was popping up in the number 10 like he likes to do. Thought Firpo was decent going forward. Defensively, I thought he did look a bit suspect. I think he was probably the main fault for their goal. Showed the fullback onto his left foot way too easily, in my opinion. It was a good strike. There was nothing Darlow could have done about that. It was well hit. But I think it could have easily been avoided if Firpo had just been a bit more alert. Like I said, my player of the match was Jayden Bogle, 100%. Back to his normal self, providing the overlapping runs for Willian Onto. Just never really lost the ball. Even when you thought he'd lost it, he'd pick it back up again. And, it was influencing the attacks. Just wasn't always playing the safe ball, was going forward, always looking forward, which is what I like to see in a fullback. And yeah, I thought it was excellent. Excellent. But obviously, it's not just the game that we're here to discuss, is it? Shall we play Joy Division? No, let's not. But yeah, look, Sheffield United. I mean, who really saw it coming? Really, like, be honest. Who saw it coming? Because I didn't. Like, to be serious for a minute. When we drew at Luton last week, I'll be honest, I thought it was done. I thought we were done. And then I watched Oxford Sheffield United and couldn't believe my eyes with how poor they were. And they were well beaten on that day by Oxford. But you think, you know what? A random blip for Sheffield United. We got beat by Pompey. Maybe that's their Pompey defeat. Then we head into midweek. And obviously we're thinking we need to beat Middlesbrough to still be in it. Still be in the fight. Blades are at home to Millwall. Burnley are away at Derby. Burnley draw with Derby, which I think we could all see coming. But Millwall go and beat Sheffield United at Bramall Lane. And then you're thinking, is there a bit of a wobble going on here? But yesterday, and obviously Leeds find themselves back top of the league, obviously, in midweek. So it's definitely back on for us. But then you're going into yesterday, and I'm thinking, Chris Wilder named an unchanged lineup for the Millwall game to what played at Oxford. He kept it unchanged. They got beat again. He received quite a bit of criticism from their own fan base. He was calling them out in press conferences, calling them a disgrace for rightfully criticising their team when they travelled all the way down to Oxford. And then he followed that up with another defeat. And then going into yesterday, I'm thinking, you know what? They cannot lose to Plymouth away. Bottom of the league. Yeah, mathematically they're still in with a chance of staying up, but it's not likely. He was calling Plymouth out in their press in his press conference, saying that they're bottom of the league for a reason. And obviously, when we find out Sheffield United are 1-0 up in the ground, we're thinking, yeah, right, fine, fair enough. No will change there. As long as we keep the win, it's as you were, fine. Then on the 81st minute, we get the notification in the ground. Someone gets the notification. Don't know who it was. You can just hear people like just murmuring around you. Plymouth have equalised, and you think, okay. Even if it had been a draw, it'd have been a great result for us. And then 5 or 6 minutes later, I mean, it made it so much better that we played at the same time. Because if we hadn't, we wouldn't have had that moment when Plymouth went 2-1 up in the ground. You could just feel it and sense it. It kind of went from the east into the cheese, all the way around to the south, back to the west, and it just went all around the grounding like a Mexican wave effect. But nobody could get signal to verify. There was like, we could see sections of the ground celebrating, but we obviously kind of had an inkling it was maybe a second Plymouth goal, but nobody could get signal and we couldn't verify the information. And then someone behind me, the legend that he is, gets the signal, gets the notification, starts waving his phone about, and I see it for my own eyes, and we just lose our marbles in that south stand. That made it so much better that we played them at the same time. Honestly, it was immense. And it felt like a real moment. It felt like, and again, it's not over yet. I just want to caveat before I say what I'm about to say. It's definitely not over yet. Because this time last week, we thought we were done. So it's definitely not over. But what I will say is in the ground at that moment, it felt like we'd done it. It felt like we'd done it. It just had that feel about it, that, a big word for me, but euphoria. Like you could just feel it. It was like a coliseum. It was amazing. One of the best atmospheres of the season by a mile. Not because of the team we beat, the scoreline, it was done and dusted inside 13 minutes, wasn't it? Our game, really. But the manner in which Plymouth Argyle won that game, you just cannot beat that feeling. You just can't. You cannot beat it. I mean, a couple of wins away from the big league again. Yep, absolutely. Lost the plot. Chris Wilder, way too emotional. Seems. Yeah, I mean, if anyone's not seen that, pure cinema. Pure cinema. Get your popcorn out. Get on TikTok. Find it. It's a thing of beauty. Like I say, post Oxford, pre Millwall, he's calling out their fans, calling them a disgrace when they've rightfully paid a lot of money to travel all the way down to Oxford to watch them play that badly and get beat. They're well within their right to complain. And he's calling them a disgrace. Then he follows that up with a defeat at Millwall with an unchanged team. Doesn't change the team that got beat at all. And they get beat again. More criticism comes his way. Then the Plymouth Argyle boss rightly points out that it's not just them under pressure. Sheffield United are under pressure to try and get promoted, which is a fact. And then he bites back. He doesn't like that, Chris. He really doesn't like his ego being touched, does he? Old ham face. and he, comes out and says, blah blah blah, and Plymouth are bottom of the table for a reason, and then they go and lose, and the Plymouth Argyle players are just celebrating in front of the Sheffield United fans, not deliberately, they're just celebrating in front of them, and he doesn't like that. He takes offence again. But it's because he's a fan of he's a Sheffield United fan, so he feels all the emotions of a fan as well as a manager, which is a very bad mix, or it can be, as he's showing. So he obviously has a word with them, so to speak, and then Jack Robinson, the captain, Sheffield United captain, comes out of nowhere, starts pushing and shoving in the tunnel, and it turns into a little bit of a brawl in there, and that is music to my ears. Because even when we've thought we were done, Daniel Farke's never spoken out of turn towards another manager. He's never called out the fans. He's not squaring up to opposition players. He's not fighting in the tunnel. Wilder's head has well and truly fallen off. The players' heads look like that they've well and truly fallen off, which can only be a good thing for us and Burnley, can't it? And as Paul has rightly said, and I think Edward said it earlier, it could be done on Easter Monday. So let's just talk through it. So on Good Friday, Burnley are away at Watford at 3:00. Blades are at home to Cardiff at 5:30, and then we're away at Oxford at 8:00. If all three teams win and the gap is still the same, then on Easter Monday, if we beat Stoke in the 3:00 kickoff, then we just need Burnley to avoid defeat against the Blades, and we are promoted. If on Good Friday, Burnley and Leeds win and Sheffield United drop points, I think we would only need a draw against Stoke to go up on Easter Monday before they've even played. So again, I'm not getting too ahead of myself, and I know I've just spoken it into existence, which is scary, because we have got to get past Oxford on Good Friday for any of that to even happen, which Sheffield United have shown that Oxford away is a difficult fixture. Oxford did win yesterday, so they're looking a little bit more healthy in terms of staying up. But, yeah, it'll be a difficult game, but I expect us to go there and win. So, should that happen, a win on Easter Monday, and we could be promoted, ladies and gentlemen. We could literally be 8 days away from celebrating. So, yeah, scary, isn't it? Scary. Wilder is an absolute head. Yeah, absolutely agreed. Thought he was a fan of them. Yeah. And Ted, massive thank you for that, mate. Anything that anyone can contribute to the channel is very much appreciated. Thank you very much, Ted, for your support there, and thanks for your comment as well, pal. And just saying evening, mate. So yeah, like I say, guys, Blades are falling apart. Leeds United are on the up. And if all we've got to fight for in the last 2 games is the title, that is absolutely fine by me. And you know what? If Burnley do win the league and we don't, fine. Happily shake hands. Congratulations, Clarets. But we're both going up, and that's the main thing. If we win the league, that is amazing. It'll be the cherry on top of the cake. But I just want that top 2. Really want that top 2. And you know what? I could see us and Burnley finishing on the same points and us winning it on goal difference at the minute. But again, not getting too ahead of myself. Game by game, we've got Oxford next. Get through that. and then we'll take care of Easter Monday if and when it comes to that. So I'm saying I fancy Cardiff to get a point. The way they're going on, mate, they could beat them. Imagine if they beat them. Imagine if they beat them. Wow. Do you know what? If Sheffield United lose, even if we lost at Oxford, all we'd need to do is just beat Stoke and we'd still go up. So, yeah, madness. Their own commentators saying the worst place they could play is at home. Yeah, potentially. I mean, it's usually quite empty anyway, isn't it? They don't usually fill the ground anyway, even against us. It wasn't completely full. Definitely on the 90th minute anyway. But yeah, guys, look, there's nothing else really more for me to say. You know, we're in a very, very good position at the minute, but we can't take it for granted. We cannot take it for granted at all. We just need to keep going with it. Take it game by game. Hopefully, get past Oxford on Good Friday, and then hopefully, we can celebrate on Easter Monday, can't we? Hopefully. Ted saying, is there bonus for players for winning the league? There probably will be, mate. Yeah, probably. Cardiff beat Sheffield and we win both games. We're up, mate. If Cardiff beat Sheffield United and we beat Oxford, all we've got to do is just, like you say, Oxford and Stoke, and that means we're up. Do you think Hamface will get a touchline ban? Probably not. And do I think he should? I don't know. I mean, if you've seen the clip of it happening, he says something to the Plymouth players, and then he kind of walks down the tunnel. It's like it's their captain, Sheffield United captain, that comes out of nowhere, starts pushing and shoving in the tunnel. So I don't know. And obviously, he said in the post-match interview with Sky that it had all kind of been squashed and everything. So, I mean, that would be amazing if he did get a touchline ban, but something tells me that I won't. But again, we'll wrap it up there, guys. Like I say, big thank you to everyone that has dropped by and shared your thoughts and opinions in the live chat. I do appreciate all of the support. Big thank you to Ted as well for the donation. That's very much appreciated, mate. And yeah, like I said, we're in a great position. Take it game by game, and hopefully on Easter Monday we can have a bit of a party, can't we, to celebrate another promotion to the Premier League. Just before I leave you guys, please make sure that you're smashing a like on the way out. Subscribe to the channel if you are brand new. Hit the notification bell and check out the membership features on the channel. And I will be back with more content throughout the week as we gear up for Oxford away on Friday night. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will see you in a bit. Cheers.